Alrighty guys, so just been doing a quick cleanup, as you can see there from the video, kind of going around with a wire brush on a wheel, and you might see I have to climb on top of the bloody vehicle and everything. So rust wise, we've got a little hole there after you wire wheel it back. Now I did do a preemptive wire wheeling in that area with a stainless steel on an angle grinder, so it's real heavy, and that's what we got. We have a little hole there. Everything else is looking good. I think for the sake of that little hole, it wouldn't be worthwhile cutting that section out, trying to fab a little area and then weld in fresh metal. I know behind that might be getting a little bit of rust in that, but rust won't actually grow unless there's more moisture getting in. So I think if I treat it, use the the stuff I use, the rust buster epoxy mastic around this entire area, and then get the painter guy to come in and just paint up here. He might, as I say, have to go back as far as the back door. If he does, we'll sort out that dent in the roof as well at the same time. You can see here, this is the worst of it really. I know there's a hole on the other side, but this is actually the worst of it, where the windshield had basically unbonded from that corner, and it seems to be really common on these Pajeros. So I've seen a few posts over the few years I've had this Pajero where people have leaks in that corner, and then I seen one the other day, he had a leak in the exact same place. It's got to be this. The windshield just was unbonded in that corner. I don't know what it is to do with, maybe it's a certain way the chassis flexes or something, but it just does not, it wants to unbond in that corner. I'm going to say it to the guy who's bonding the windshield. It's really common for it to unbond here. He might end up putting more adhesive in or something like that, I don't know. Or he might put more pressure on this before he puts on the rest, so that the adhesive really grips to that windshield. But anyway, I think we're looking good for just a straightforward treatment of the metal. I don't know what you guys think, but I think treat it, maybe give it a couple of coats of the Bardol Convertex, give it a couple of coats of that, and cover it with the epoxy mastic, and we'll go from there, I think. What do you guys think? So far, you might have seen me with the wire wheel on a die grinder on the airline, which is that. You can see that's all wet. You know what that is? That is actually just the cold air flying through that makes this all turn white with frost. And then after that, I have, these are both little products, by the way. Then I have this cordless die grinder, or Dremel, it's a Dremel copy. And I just pop that in there, and then that just sort of, I could use that cone shape to get into the groove. And when I brought that brings the shape back, because when you'll see it here, when it starts to rust, rust basically starts separating the sheets of steel that this is made out of. This is made out of sheet upon sheet upon sheet, folded on top of itself. So rust gets in between and starts to, it actually grows, if you know what I mean, expands and starts chipping off. So there's actually more here in this rusted area than there is here, width-wise, sticking out, if you know what I mean. The integrity is gone though, but so you can see, like, even that little black patch there, if I worked on that long enough, that actually just come off, and I might end up doing that. You can't do it everywhere, but where you can do it, it can, you feel like then you've gotten it down to the point where it's actually the original steel, even though it might be a few sheets of its pressing thinner, and then your treatment will work a little bit better. Well, that's the thought process behind it anyway. So up here, I think we will do the same, treat it. I'm genuinely just thinking about filling that then, or at least I might treat it, paint it with my epoxy mastic, and let the paint guy fill it with a little bit of filler in that, and that would be probably the best way to do it. Same here, we got a little bit of rust there. I haven't pulled the wings I'm sure if I pull the wings, I'll find more behind there in that same area, and I might tackle that another day. As I say, I want to get this Jeep back on the road. There was a couple of really annoying things, like, I know I probably won't notice this when I'm in the Jeep, and maybe I will always notice it, like where the brush spins and it catches and then it pulled it across here. That's the worst of it. So there's like a little tiny mark, see there? And there. Sort of annoying. And then like this little bit here where I caught a bit of the headliner. That probably won't ever be seen because the windshield bonds to that area. I'm hoping anyway. And that's pretty much it. Like there was a little rub mark again here, but again that is something that won't really be seen. I'm hoping a lot of this won't be seen. It's quite annoying. Also these clips, I'm going to have to find replacements because they seem to just break when they come out, and I needed to remove them to just clean up around some of them. I need to just see that mark there, and I think that's just on the top of the paint though, I don't think that's in the metal. There's a couple of them where I want to just clean around it and make sure that they are protected from the rust. Anyway guys, that's me for today. I'll report back. I'll paint this, and maybe I might just do a quick video at the end when I painted it so you can see where it's reacting and everything like that. And okay guys. Alrighty, so just painted it with the Bardol Rustox or Convertox, and I go for copious amounts of it because I actually want to saturate and flood the area so that it will soak into anywhere that any kind of porous part of the metal, if you know what I mean, so that it gets into it. So even like the likes of that hole there, I kind of soak that area. Now I need to leave that for, well, I'm going to leave it for a good few hours, I think. I have something to do this evening, so I might try and put a coat on it. It only takes maybe 10 minutes to do that coat, if even. I might put a coat on it again this evening, and then I might not see this Jeep again for, let's say, Monday evening, something like that. My issue now is it'll be next week by the time I get going looking at this again with doing the epoxy mastic. And as you know from when I did this, you kind of need, you're meant to have it at a certain temperature. So what I do is I put the epoxy mastic sitting beside the stove for, let's say, a day or so. That gets it nice and kind of fluid, because it will come out like a paste otherwise. That'll get nice and fluid. I'll paint it onto here as a brush thing, but you're meant to keep it above a certain temperature. So I need to check the temperatures next week to make sure that we're not going to have any kind of freezing point. It takes about 2 weeks to fully cure. Now I think you can paint over it. I'm going to read the back of it, but I think you can paint over it after, let's say, 48 hours or something, allowing for bad temperatures and it being March, so it does freeze at night. I would think we could be painting it by the end of next week, as in its final coat of paint. So if I can somehow get that mastic on, the sooner I can get that mastic on, the better, making sure that the temperatures are going to be okay. It's an insulated shed, so even when it freezes, let's say if it's minus 2 or 3 outside, it's still in the positives inside the shed. So that's with no heating or anything like that. So I should be all right regarding that. but so we have to just check the temperatures and everything. So yeah, that's the idea, guys. We're going to throw another coat on that later this evening, let that kind of saturate it in, paint it with the epoxy mastic, get the panel beater out to do the actual paint. I'd love to get handy at painting, but I've tried in the past, it doesn't really go my way. I'm not good at even painting in houses, so I'm not going to be good at painting cars. I think we'll keep on training with the welding rather than trying to do too much. Anyway, so that'll be painted then, and then the windshield will go back in with the tint for the top and everything like that. The thread plate, I'm finding it hard to find stainless steel thread plate in an offcut. Somebody suggested the local guys don't do it anymore. They don't deal with anything like that. You know, that kind of checker plating, or diamond plating as some people call it, or thread plate. Finding it hard to find stainless steel sections. I only need, you know, a small piece in actuality, and then I can take these off, trace them, and then we'll be away. But cannot find. I'm hoping that I can find some kind of steel supplier that'll have it sitting on the shelf like an offcut from a job they did, because the actual sheet cost is about €400 plus VAT for a full sheet of it in stainless steel. The aluminium would corrode. I guess that chemical corrosion going between the two, so I don't want that. What else? I have the blower motor came from Lithuania, or Latvia, sorry, my bad. So that's fantastic. And what else do we need to do? Oh, you have the exhaust in the back. I'm not too pushed about the exhaust. That'll be either a lot of, I've heard this lovely word, guntering, which is basically a lot of kind of pushing and shoving and fighting with it. It's actually a very accurate word. I really like that word. But anyway, it'd be an awful lot of guntering, or it'll just come out straight away. Either way, the new exhaust going into that. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. Thanks. Bye.